So we need to give JJ McCarthy the respect he deserves after that performance. He struggled in the first half because it was his first time as a starter. And then come the second half, he put his team on his back and he made winning plays. I want to start off by talking about the Minnesota Vikings and what I think of them going forward. I believe the Minnesota Vikings are the best team in the NFC North. I believe that they have a legitimate chance to win the NFC this upcoming year. I don't believe they're the best team in the NFC at the current moment. I think they could absolutely get there. Depending on how good JJ McCarthy plays this season, or really how he plays in the postseason as well, but how JJ McCarthy plays is going to be very much dependent on my opinion of the Minnesota Vikings. I had the Los Angeles Rams winning the NFC going into the season, right? And after week one, my opinion has changed just a little bit because I love what I saw from Dallas on Thursday against Philly. I didn't love what I saw from LA against the Texans on Sunday, but I love what I saw in the second half here with the Minnesota Vikings and how well JJ McCarthy played in the second half. Look, Kevin O'Connell, he's in the stage with JJ McCarthy where he's just figuring him out, right? He's trying to figure out what he needs to do with JJ McCarthy to turn him into the quarterback that he needs to become, right? And when you saw the first half yesterday and JJ McCarthy struggling there, I think Kevin O'Connell switched some things up in the second half, and that made JJ McCarthy so much better. What I saw, what he did on the ground, I mean, you talk about 2 carries for 25 yards and a touchdown, 14-yard run on one of them. I mean, like, I think that they're going to use his legs a little more. 13 for 20, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. It wasn't great over the air, especially to start the game, but he really started to put it together. And this is just his first NFL start, right? He's essentially a rookie. If I'm not mistaken, I think JJ McCarthy, he might be like 21 years old. I'm sorry, let me double check that. He is 22 years old. So he's a 22-year-old starting quarterback. So he's essentially a rookie at this point. And what I saw from him, if that was a real rookie, if that was Cam Ward that did that yesterday, I think people would have a different perspective on that. If what JJ McCarthy did yesterday, if that was Cam Ward, or if that was, let's just say, Shedeur Sanders with the Cleveland Browns, we would be talking a lot differently. So we need to give JJ McCarthy the respect he deserves after that performance. He struggled in the first half because it was his first time as a starter. And then come the second half, he put his team on his back and he made winning plays. And they ended up coming back because of JJ McCarthy. And I think that he deserves a lot of credit for that. And if he's as good as he can be, which is, maybe top 15, fringe top 10 quarterback this season, yeah, the Vikings could get to the Super Bowl. There's no doubt in my mind about that. This team last year won 14 games, and they had Sam Darnold as their quarterback, who, to give respect to Sam Darnold, he did have a really good year last year with the Minnesota Vikings. But because they moved on from Sam Darnold and they created that cap room, they were able to build out the rest of their roster because they have a quarterback on a rookie contract. That's the benefit you get there. So if you can get play similar to what you got from Sam Darnold last year, and you have a quarterback on a rookie contract that allowed you to go out and add more talent to your football team, then yeah, the Vikings can be better than they were last year. I mean, they're already off to a good start on the road going into Chicago. They were down 17-6, and they ended up coming back and winning this game. I thought it was an impressive performance. Very impressive performance by the Minnesota Vikings. One thing I do worry about is I worry about what they can do on the ground. Like Jordan Mason yesterday, 15 for 68, 4.5 apiece. That's nice. Like Aaron Jones, 8 for 23, 2.9 apiece. I just wonder if they can create a consistent run game that takes pressure off JJ McCarthy and this passing attack. Sorry about that. I had to clear my nose there. When I look at their receiving game, obviously they have Justin Jefferson. They have Jalen Naylor. Jordan Addison, I didn't play in this game. I believe he's on a suspension right now. Let me just double check that. Sorry about that. Yeah, he is suspended. So, like what we saw from the Minnesota Vikings, understand they're going to get better. They're going to get better. Like they went into Chicago, put up 27 on Chicago in JJ McCarthy's first game as a starting quarterback, and Jordan Addison wasn't even playing. And when I look at this receiver core, you have Jefferson, Addison, Naylor, TJ Hawkinson. Their offensive line's improved. This offense can be very, very good this season. And we already know what their defense can do. This team is going to be an absolute train to deal with. And because of that, I think they stand a really good chance to win the NFC this year. Especially what I saw from Philly the other day. I think outside of the quarterback, you can make a legitimate case that the Minnesota Vikings are, outside of the quarterback, the best team in the NFC. Right? Like, that's how talented their roster is. Now, one thing because I do want to recap this game a little bit, right? This game was a tale of two halves for the Vikings. They struggled in the first half. They came back in the second half. And when you looked at what Chicago was doing, I think Minnesota was trying to figure out what Chicago was doing, right? Because obviously they do have a new offensive coordinator play caller. And yes, when you look at Ben Johnson and his history with Jared Goff, you could go back and watch his tape and see some of the tendencies that he has. And obviously they've game planned against Ben Johnson in the past, but it's not the same, right? Because they have a new quarterback. They have different personnel than they had in Chicago. It's going to look different. So that's why when I look at this game as a whole, I think that in the first half, Minnesota was thrown off a little bit by what Chicago was doing. Then they figured it out and they started to play some really good defense.